All right, well, it's 6:30, so I will open the meeting. Welcome everybody to the Monday, June 15th meeting, 2020 of the Town of Easton Planning and Zoning Board. And quickly, because I know we need to, in keeping with the ongoing emergency order from Governor Charlie Baker to limit gatherings and maximize social distancing, and under legislation passed to address remote board meetings during the emergency declaration, this meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by board and commission members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards a quorum. The meeting is available on ECAT, and I would refer anybody to the posted agenda for further instructions. I will, to ensure we have a quorum, request the board members just verbally check in. So Greg Strange here.
Kevin here.
Shane here.
Deb Balsaric here.
Very good. Thank you all. Okay, so first up, we have a continued public hearing for 370 Center Street, a special hearing for a duplex. And hey Kitty, can you just squeeze that, please? Ima, you said they have someone present. Could you call them up?
I just brought Frank Gallagher in. So Frank, you should be able to hear us and talk now. If you need to start your video, you can. And your plans are up on the screen.
Okay.
Hey, Frank.
I did it. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hey, Frank. So this is Greg Strange. So we have a little adversity tonight. We had one member had addition to their family over the weekend and is not in attendance, and then another member had a family emergency. And so Deb showed up to give us enough to open a public hearing for a special permit, which we need 4. And we thank Deb for that, taking time away from her studies. But according to our rules in Easton, we would need 4 votes in the affirmative. So if you wanted us to close tonight and vote, we would have to have a unanimous decision. So you might not want us to do that. And I'm not sure, maybe you guys this all came up at the last minute, so I just got back from work. I'm not sure if Chris, and this question's for Ima, I guess, did Chris or Robert, had either one of them already missed one of these meetings? Because even then they would not be eligible.
I don't think they have. I think they were there at the last one. In fact, I think Suzanne checked the minutes today, and it was almost. I don't believe you were at the last one, but
No, I was not.
Yeah, but Chris and Bob were.
Okay, so Amos, did you watch the? Have you fulfilled your Mullen Rule requirements?
Yes, I did watch.
Okay. So Frank, so that's the thing. We can hold this. We have a quorum. We can hold it. If you wanted us to vote tonight, there's 4 of us, and you'd have to get a unanimous. I'll let you decide at the end, I guess, how you want us to proceed.
All right.
So if you want to just go ahead and talk about any revisions you've got here, or what we're looking at.
All right. Well, let me do that then. When we last met, I came away with 4 comments that I had written down, and I submitted a plan that's revised June 3rd that I hope addressed those 4 comments. The first one was to change the building footprint to align it with, the architectural plan that we just submitted, on that day that we had the hearing. And it showed, rather than just the front corner of the 2 units touching it, it has, a full common wall between the 2 units. So that's been changed on my site plan. I also showed the substantial trees that were on the lot in the vicinity of Center Street. And you'll see there's several of them shown on the plan. I've got size of the trees and, what type of tree it is, whether it's oak or pine There were a couple of cedars up front. So I showed those trees. I listed the upland area on the plan. If you look at the box
Are you
that's,
guys losing him like I am?
I'm okay with your audio.
okay,
Okay, too.
Okay, I guess it's on my end. Imai, could you just zoom in on the plan?
Sure.
Just so we can see the house and the left side of the lot. Thank you. Go ahead, Frank, sorry.
so yeah, the footprint, the trees, the substantial trees that were up in the area close to Center Street. I listed the upland area on the plan. If you look at the box that's on, within the lot that shows total lot area, it also now lists the upland area. And then I showed the limit of clearing. And you'll see that in, the symbol that's typically a tree line, and I showed it as a heavier line to separate it from the existing tree line that I'd shown, and I labeled it. So you can see that it
Okay.
kind of creates a decent area behind and to the east of the unit that is the easterly most one. So those are the 4 items that I showed on my revised plan.
Okay, thank you. And I noticed, just looking at the plan, it looks like maybe is there like a landing and stairs on the back of that? Is that what those rectangles are?
Yes.
They seem to go over the rear, so the side setback. Is that allowed in Easton? I can't recall. That might be something you might want to check with the building inspector on.
Okay. Yeah, it's really just a sort of a landing, just a concrete pad that you take one step out and land on that. So
Right. You might,
that's the setback
something
applies.
tells me there may have been a recent change on the interpretation of that. I might be wrong, but you might want to check just to
We'll check. We will.
save the hassle.
Mhm.
Imai, do you have any comments on this, questions?
No, the biggest thing was these trees up front. I think, well, as far as the character of keeping it along Center Street goes. So if anything, more, I just want to make sure that we, the discussion around these trees is they are all to be preserved, or in what circumstances can they come out? Can they come out like they get disease, dying? In that case, do they come out and have to be replaced, or we just let a natural succession of things go on? Wanted to get your take on that.
Yeah, normally in the past, what we'll just say is, existing trees to remain, right? I think that's what we discussed, Frank, right?
Yes.
And,
Yes.
so I think, that's a little note I wrote down. We could just add that to the plan.
Okay.
How about board members? You guys have comments or questions?
I have a question. One of the septics also is close to the neighbor there. Is that acceptable? It's behind the line. At least one leaching field appears to be.
Yeah, I think they might have a 10-foot setback, or maybe they'll have some sort of waiver.
Yeah, it's acceptable as far as Title V is concerned. They ask that you keep a leaching field 10 feet away from a property line, and we have that. So, so we meet that. That's what controls it.
Is there a reason why it's there and it's not moved over the inside of the property?
Just, no, that's where the test pits are located. So,
Okay.
it can be moved. It could be moved somewhat and still fit within the test pits. But,
Are those stone walls, Frank? Is that what those little circles denote?
yes.
And are they going to remain?
They should remain. Yeah, we're not going to. We're not going to disturb them.
Good. All right. So that's another note you might want to add on the plan. Just
Mhm,
people like it when stone walls are saved, right?
mhm.
It looks like it's partially within the right of way, so at least that front one, I don't think you could touch, right?
Well, the front one, yeah, we wouldn't touch that. That's really, it's pretty much right at the edge of the right of way for Center Street.
Right.
And we wouldn't touch that.
I was looking at the ones on the northern property line up
Right.
near
Yeah.
the septic. That's what
Right.
probably
And
my
you-
question.
And that one is actually within the property, so
Right.
it wouldn't necessarily have to be retained because it's not really the boundary. But,
Mhm.
but you know, if we don't need to disturb it, we won't, and we don't need to in this particular case, so.
Okay.
So
Sure.
when they go to do the site work, they wouldn't just pull that out so they can dig the leaching field?
No, it's you know, if you look at the contour lines, they you know, they come up short of where where that stone wall is. So the limit of the work really doesn't come onto that stone wall.
Right.
We won't disturb it, and if you want to you know, put a condition in to that effect, we'd be happy to accept that condition too.
How tall is that stone wall, Frank?
Couple of feet.
Okay, so it looks like you're coming up about a foot higher with this contour line. Or maybe 104. And you're bringing in. Oh, no, is that not, that's a barrier, not a contour. You're not regrading there. Okay, gotcha.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
Frank, what's the line? I'm just curious. Like, see where it says impervious barrier right below that, or I don't know if yeah, you can see the same screen. There's a line that's parallel to the property line. Is that another property line, or what is that?
I think you might be looking at the proposed contour. Is it a thicker line?
Well,
have-
I'm looking at, so see where the septic is, right? Where the field is.
Yes.
And look at the stone wall that runs to the street, and just above that is a line that's is the property line. It calls
Oh,
out the length.
yes.
But then see above that, under the word impervious barrier, what is that?
The line that's underneath that impervious barrier?
Yeah, it's under the word impervious barrier, right where if you can see Emi's little, he has a little.
Okay. Yeah, there's a narrow strip of property that's an adjacent. It's not a property line to the locus. It's a property line for the property that's north. It's, if you see Jerome and June Dixon.
Yeah, so that's their property line.
Their property line. Yeah. So there's a narrow kind of it's not a right of way. It's really just an access strip to go to a property that's in the rear of.
To a back piece. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's technically not landlocked, I guess.
Right.
Right. Okay.
I think that road actually goes to the ironworks. It's
Yes.
Yeah.
it's called like a power lines back there.
Oh,
There's a, you know, kind of a car path that falls within those two lines that leads back.
Peter sounds like he might have been out there in high school.
But younger.
Yeah.
So this is just this is your septic plan, but of course we'll have a site plan if and when we sign a plan.
Yeah, I mean, I figured this would be it.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Well, it just said no one said this plan is for the construction of the septic system only.
Mhm.
So I wasn't sure if that meant that this is not the site plan, even though it looks like a site plan.
Yeah, you know, I guess what I ought to do maybe is, would the planning board sign, would they be looking to sign a plan, or do you simply issue a special permit?
Yeah, no, we sign a plan.
Okay, so
You can certainly have a septic system on it, you know.
well, then I guess what I would expect would be just to put an endorsement somewhere on this plan that the planning
Yeah. Yeah, I think as long as you have any information that we're looking for, some of the
Yeah.
points we're talking about tonight.
So normally what we do, Frank, is, and I haven't done this a lot, but you basically get us a Mylar and a bond copy, and I have a stamp here that I just sign. I take it out and I sign it.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm figuring this would be the plan.
Yeah, so it's really like a site plan and sewage disposal, but I mean, I don't see a problem. I don't know if there is one, technically, but I don't think so if no one else is worried about that.
So the applicant is Alex Alfieri.
He's here. Does he want to talk?
He would like to, I think, just because the issue of whether or not to go forward on a vote tonight is really an issue that he needs to have
I
in.
brought him in as a panelist, so he can come in and say what he needs to.
Okay, so Alex, if you're speaking, we're not hearing you, so you need to unmute yourself.
Left side of the screen, hover with your mouse.
Weirdly, I can't unmute him.
Okay.
How about now? Anyone hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
we hear you.
All right, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. So just to be clear, I guess this is a decision to be made, Frank, upon the voting of the quorum of the board.
Yeah, the situation we have is, you need 4 votes. And if the chairman wants to explain it, maybe he'd be better.
Yeah, so Mr. Jaffe, I'm not sure when you came in, but we had one of our members his wife gave birth over the weekend to their first, so he is occupied. And we had another member had an emergency at home today, later in the afternoon. So
Okay.
we called Deb in off of architectural leave. But so special permits, we need at least 4, which we have, but you also need 4, it's a super majority. You need 4 in the affirmative. So if we were to close the public hearing and vote tonight, you would need to be unanimous. So many times, I often recommend to folks that we continue until we have a regular majority, because you never know what's going to happen. But it's your, you're the boss on that. So whichever, if you would like us to close and vote, we can, or if you'd like to wait to our next meeting, we can do that as well.
Okay, so the question is, the decision to be made is whether I risk it for tonight or we go to July 6th, I think is your next meeting.
Because if someone were to vote no, then you can't do it for 2 years. And
Ooh,
so sometimes, yeah,
that was my next question.
an ounce of prevention sometimes.
Okay, so the 4
Or 2
voting,
years.
so the 4 voting tonight is Deborah, Amos, Gregory, and Peter?
Correct.
Okay.
I don't have any objections to the plan. I would vote for this plan.
Yeah, I will support this too.
Well, it's 2 out of 4, but it's not 4.
Well, I think I'd obviously recommend, but I don't. This is the first. I prefer not to do little roll calls like this. I don't think it's fair to someone if they.
Okay, then I guess because of the consequences being 2 years out, then that's an awful large risk. So we're going to have to wait until July 6th.
And I am sorry. We're usually a very
Yeah, no, I understand.
very responsive board, but sometimes life gets in the way.
Sure does. So no, it's fine. Waited a couple
And
years.
just because technically, once we close the public hearing, we can't take in any information, and there's a little bit of information that we wouldn't mind getting on the plan tonight. So maybe we could do that, and then we can close this out. At our next July 6th, I think.
All right. Do we need to look at anything more tonight, or we just wait till July 6th if there's any
Board members,
issues?
do you have any more questions or comments?
I mean, we got all the drawings. Has everybody looked and approved of the
Yeah.
CAD drawings and the images of the dwelling? All that.
So Greg, just to your point, if that stoop or concrete pad, whatever it is considered a building element that must be set back, it just means that everything will be pushed forward just a little. Doesn't really affect anything.
No, I mean, because it looks like it would be, it might not be the case. I thought I heard, we have a newer inspector in town, and I heard that maybe it was being interpreted a little differently. And I don't know. I haven't had firsthand experience with it. We're looking at maybe a foot or two, just guessing, looking at this.
But even if it got moved forward, it doesn't appear that anything really.
No, right. I don't think
impacted,
it doesn't
yeah.
really change it. I was more just giving Frank a heads up to save him up the road, a hassle.
Is there a reason why not to move it exactly to the line? So you don't have any construction that violate the,
No, there's really no reason not to move it.
okay, so why do you make it sure you can consult with the building inspector? Just make it sure, move it that foot, and we are all set.
All right, yep, I'll follow up on that.
Other than that, I'm good. I think we have everything on the plan. We'll make a note about the trees remaining and the stone walls we talked about. And is there anything else? I know Ima, I know you're marking a couple things.
Should we look at the architectural plans quickly, just in case?
Yeah, this is Alex Alfieri. I just want to make sure there's no further issues with the plans that we resubmitted. And the just in the event we have to do something for July 6th.
Peter, I seem to have bad audio. It's not, you cut out. I'm not sure. Did you ask for something?
I was saying, should we look at the architectural plans quickly? Just,
Sure.
I forgot. I wasn't sure which one was the most recent one that we're working with.
Yep.
Yeah, I did have the same problem. I didn't know which one is the latest one.
If you bring,
Can you bring up the architecturals?
Yeah, I'll bring them up here. Let me just grab them.
Yeah, that's the second floor plan. We really didn't make any changes except that we did put together the adjoining section there, which was the V, although these plans don't really show that. So maybe they're not the latest.
But there is a first, there was a first floor plan that did show it, that was online.
Yeah. You know what, that's in a different folder because of when you emailed it to me. Hold on.
Okay.
It says revision 1 on the name of the file. I think that's the one.
Hard to participate in a Zoom meeting when you're in your kitchen and good smelling food is being microwaved.
Okay, sorry.
That one again. There you go.
There we go. Yeah.
that's it right there.
Yeah, so that's the first floor, and we just call it a media office room now, which actually adds to the square footage. So it actually increased and added another amenity to the facility.
That's a 2-story addition, correct?
It is. That's the first floor plan there. There's a second floor plan as well. And then there's a front and elevations.
Peter, did you want to see the exterior? Is that what your question?
Yeah, let me see that.
Pretty much is what we have a purview on. Mike, could you call? I know there was a sheet with like 3 renderings. Maybe you could pull that up. It was trying to.
Yeah, that's a good look at it.
Yeah, that's the front.
Without the adjoining section.
This rendering was done before you folks connected here, though, right?
That's right.
So you just continue that same roof line across that wedge.
Well,
Yeah.
he actually did show, the architect did also create another drawing. I don't know if the rendering was part of it, but there is another drawing of the rear and side elevations that show the adjoining section. That was also on the Rev 1 drawing.
Okay, well, it's fine. That's okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just make sure we have everything when we make our decision at the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, and if we're
Frank and
still,
Alex, can you send me those updated elevations? Because the last ones we got were these plans, sorry, this one right before the meeting that connected this area,
Right,
okay,
but it was just the one plan
right,
that we got. So we don't have updated elevations or a second floor plan for this.
okay.
oh no, they're all
Send us
completed.
those and so we can check all those boxes for the 6th.
No, absolutely. That's what I wanted to make sure of. So they are completed. They are finalized. I'll make sure that Frank gets them to you, next couple of days, along with the updated renderings. We have all of it. So that's good that we checked this and made sure what we didn't have, because I do want you to see it all. So thank you.
So does anybody?
You know what?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Deb.
We don't have a roof plan, right?
A roof plan. I don't know. I don't recall an actual, looking like a topography roof plan. I just remember the elevations, the rears and the sides. But the rendering shows some of the roof, but not an actual aerial view of the roof. If you're interested in that, I'll certainly ask the architect to see if we can get it to you by the next meeting.
It's probably more of just a curiosity. I think probably the ridge of the little pie section probably mimics the ridge of the 2 buildings, but I was just curious how you worked it out.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
it'd be
that's
good
what-
to see, because there was actually some snow conditions and snow concerns that he had. So he wanted it, he wanted the rear or the elevations or the peaks to also match the others. So it was something that was put some thought into it, and it would be of value to look at. And again, I don't know why we didn't make sure you had them all tonight, but I'll be sure you see them all next meeting.
All right. Anybody else? Are we good?
Should we
So,
keep this
Frank,
open
that's
in
the
case
way-
the other members, then at the next meeting, anyone has any more questions, the other members who weren't here? Or do we close now?
Okay, thank you all. Have a great evening.
Okay, so someone want to make a motion to continue to our July 6th meeting?
Motion to continue to July 6th.
Second,
All those in favor, Strange, aye.
Shane, aye.
Deborah, I.
Kevin, Mike.
Great. All right, thank you. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So the next is we have a request to continue the public hearing for Sawmill Village, 560 Foundry Street to July 6th, 2020.
Yeah. For that,
Oh,
actually, they were late in submitting to Concom, so they're going to be behind in Concom. So it would actually be better to continue to July 20th.
Motion to continue Sawmill Village to July 20th.
Second.
All those in favor, Strange, aye.
Kevin, Mike.
Deborah, I.
All right, same thing, request to continue 38 Center Street, special permit, mixed use and site plan review to July 6th, 2020.
Request to continue 38 Center Street to July 6th.
Second.
All those in favor, Strange, aye.
Shane, aye.
Kevin, Mike.
Deborah, I.
And in our last case of deja vu, we have a request to continue to July 6th, 58 Mill Street, Owl Ridge Estates.
Motion to continue 58 Mill Street, Owl Ridge Estates to July 6th.
Second.
All those in favor, Strange eye.
Jay and I.
Kevin, I.
Deborah, I.
Very good. All right, 351 Depot Street. This is an A&R plan for the church at the intersection of Depot and Center Street. Look pretty cut and dry.
Mhm.
Forming lots A and B. Both have the frontage, both have the required uplands, both meet all setbacks. Anything I'm missing, Imai, on that?
Nope. This one is pretty straightforward.
Board members, any questions or comments or motions?
What's the intention or purpose? I'm sorry, I didn't read the applicant letter if there was one.
So the they're separating the single family house on Center Street, which is on Lot A, separating that from the
Mhm.
church property. It's just creating
Okay.
2 lots. Right now, it's all one lot.
Okay.
Not the two on the southwest corner, but the church and then the house that's the most northern. There's just separating the lots.
And the wetlands were like delineated and, confirmed recently. Is that the process with this?
Sorry, what was delineated and confirmed, Peter?
Oh, the wetlands? Oh, it says it right here. Wetlands delineation by Brooke, by the botanist.
Upland here,
Oh.
honestly, I don't know if this has been confirmed or not.
Well, it says they were if you look at the middle right of the plan, it says just, it names who did that, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose that's good enough for us. If the building inspector or anyone else had more questions, that would be
Sure.
that situation.
And it's a little different where it's an existing house and a church.
No, that's what I was thinking, right, yeah.
So.
I think the
So I'm
separation,
fine with this.
Yeah.
I think the separation is there. They will allow to sell that dwelling separately
Right.
Yeah.
if they
sure
want to
that's
do it. The question I have, from the point of view of town taxes and everything else, follows this decision?
Yes, it would
assessment.
be, they may have separate tax bills on this property now,
Right.
but it certainly would be now.
Yeah, it will change now.
Right.
So they get notified, they're part of this deal from the point of view of when you divide a lot like that?
Yeah,
Get
the assessor's office is kept up to date with all land changes that we do.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
All A&R,
yes.
They're notified of that, yeah.
Okay, motion to endorse the A&R plan.
Second,
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Of course, I have bad audio tonight. All those in favor, Strange eye.
Kevin, I.
Deborah, I.
All right. I kind of miss meeting in person. This is getting old, isn't it?
I know.
I miss a lot of things in person.
Yeah, right.
I hear you. Okay, internally illuminated sign, 25 Robert Drive. Mockingbird music. I like this. Is a nice looking sign. I wish people were more creative like this more often.
Yeah.
Channel letters, individual letters, a little bird. Didn't even know we had a music studio in Easton, but I went to their website.
It's not internally illuminated exactly, right? I went to the web to search this type of
Well, it's
signs.
backlit, sort of like
Yes.
a halo, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, I think it's different, Greg. There are signs in which the letter itself is LEDs.
So we
I'm-
have, I believe the applicant here, have her explain it.
Yeah, I would like to get an explanation because I went to the web to search exactly that wording, and there are signs that are created with LEDs illuminated. It's not exactly internal.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I thought like you could hear me the whole time, so I was trying to be quiet that whole time. So for the Mockingbird music,
Excuse me,
those are
if you could just, I'm sorry, if you could just identify yourself for the record, please, that'd be
Yep.
great.
Anna Halleck from ProSign Graphics.
Great, thank you, Anna. Welcome.
Thank you. So these are internally illuminated channel letters. They're going to be on a raceway, which just makes it a little bit easier to connect to the electrical. But they are on a timer and they are dimmed, which is what all of these signs are on this strip. So we just kind of copied. We'd actually done a few of these channel letter sets in this this mall. So they're all set up the same, but it is internally illuminated. So each letter will light up, which is front face.
So as I saw that on the web, each letter has its own illumination.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, it will be illuminated. All those signs on that strip are internally illuminated. So this won't be the same thing.
Okay. Just for our own information, so say, how does the price of this compare to say just channel lettering, like illuminated, box channel lettering?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's the, so this type of sign costs a little more, is that?
Compared to what?
Oh, like say regular illuminated channel letters?
So they're the exact same thing as channel letters. They're just put on a raceway, which with a raceway, we just paint, the raceway doesn't light up. It's just when it's really hard to make an electrical connection behind that wall, we put it on a raceway.
Okay.
Like
So
a giant
yeah, the raceway.
background conduit.
Kind of like that, yeah. It's pretty much like a backer, but it's painted the same as the facade, which we get the paint code from the landlord. So really, unless you're staring right at it, you don't really see it.
Did you say that the other, you have other signs there that also have a raceway?
Yeah, so we've done, I think Pizzoni's is on a raceway, Supercuts is on a raceway. I don't think TJ Maxx is on a raceway. I think it's TJ Maxx. Sleepy's, which used to be here, was on a raceway.
I think the
It
pet
generally
shop.
is where it depends on where it's located. I think the ones when you're looking at the building as an entire place, the ones on the left are generally can go against the wall because you can get access to the back of them. And then all the stores that are on the right side, it's a lot harder to access it from the drop ceiling. So that's why those are all on raceways.
Those awnings have seen better days.
I haven't done the awnings. Those are not me.
Not in contract, I know, not in contract.
We can approve it if you can also do the awning.
That's
I wish I got that contract.
Well, it looks like the ethos is melting onto the awning.
Yeah, they did not use the material. A lot of times when they use like a cheaper material, that's what ends up looking like.
Look just like that. Yep.
Yep.
All right, board, what do you think?
Motion to approve sign with raceway as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I have a question. You say that this will match the style of the rest of the signs on that site?
And that they're internally illuminated letters on raceways.
Yeah, the way they're manufactured, not the actual like logo or design, but the way that the letters are manufactured, the depth, and generally the same square footage as the other ones.
You all set, Adam, Amos?
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, at a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, Strange, aye.
Very nice.
Get them out.
Deborah, aye.
I got the next one too.
Okay. All right, that's everybody, right? Thanks. Okay. Is everything frozen? We here? All right, well set. Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you, Greg.
All right, so next up, 49 Belmont Street, MGI Systems. This one's pretty cut and dry. It's an existing box, and they're just changing out the top panel. not as nice as the lake we just looked at, but I don't think we can have them.
Yeah,
Change.
this
This
one's much
is simple
simpler.
living,
It's
so
just
we have
the
to keep
face
this
of
one
it.
simple.
Yeah, this one's just the face of it. So pretty much take off the old one and put in a new face. And that's it, just for the new company.
See, this shows you the power of signage. Like I will see that Mockingbird one. I drive by this building probably 5 times a day, and I didn't even know that Landscape Pro sign existed. So I go
We
by it
try to
now.
offer better signs, but
That's right. But I understand. Sometimes we're just changing out the panel. Seems fine with me. Board members?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve sign is presented.
Second.
Aim.
Second.
All those in favor? Strange,
Strange.
aye.
awesome. Right. Thank you very much.
Get them out.
Deborah, I.
All right, great. Thank you for joining us.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Letter of determination, Reardon Way, Lot 3. And
So,
I know there's been a lot of discussion on this, and I think perhaps Attorney Marioni was going to join us, but I can't tell if he has or not.
let's see, who is it on this one? Is it, Walter Marioni is here. I believe he's on this
Yeah,
one.
Walter. Right. Maybe you want to call him up?
Bringing him up, yep. All right, Walter, you're here.
I am here. Good evening, everybody.
Welcome, Counselor.
Good to see you all.
So what do you have for us?
So we submitted a letter in October of 2019 to the board requesting a finding under the bylaw. And the finding was essentially that the way was suitable for access purposes for the home that was proposed to be constructed on the lot. And the backstory to that, of the history leading up to the submission of that letter, was that the applicant had filed with conservation to construct a home on the lot. And in their initial filings, they, rather than access the home the way it is shown on the plan, they stopped short of the lot line, which would be the northern lot line, meaning the lot line, yes. And they had obtained easement rights from the 2 property owners up front, one of which is them, to go along that lot line, around the wetland, and then to the house. So rather than continue up Reardon Way, they were going to stop short and go around the wetland and come in exactly just like that. The commission, and quite frankly, I think rightfully so, wasn't thrilled with that approach, because that would sort of cut off that wetland and create different issues for them. And I'm not sure the fire department was thrilled about that either. So the applicant got our office involved and said, what do you think we should do? So we talked to different people, and we talked to town council, we talked to the building inspector, and I think pretty quickly we came to the conclusion that the right way to access this property is the way it's shown on this plan, which is to continue down Reardon Way, widen Reardon Way a little bit where the property exists, where we have the right to do that, and come in and construct the property that way. Conservation, I was dealing specifically with Andrea, was thrilled with that approach. Building inspector had no issue with it. Town council had no issue with it. Then Stephanie sort of got involved as Stephanie stepped into the town planner role. She coordinated the backstory to this or the behind the scenes with all these different people involved. We went back to the fire department. The fire department supported the concept. You can see their turning radiuses on this plan. And based upon all of that, I submitted a letter working with the building inspector, with Stephanie, and with town council. And that's my October 2nd letter to you folks asking for finding that under the bylaw that the access was adequate. I believe what happened next was you discussed it at a meeting and you wanted confirmation from the fire department that he, in fact, that the fire representative, Captain, I don't want to butcher his name, Diazlo, thought that that access was in fact adequate. So you continued the discussion. He chimed in and said, yes, in fact, I reviewed this and this access is adequate. You guys at your next meeting, you voted that access as being adequate. And Stephanie, on her way out the door, submitted a letter in November. And when she submitted the letter, she simply referenced the wrong plan. She didn't reference this January 18th, 2019 plan that you have in front of you. She referenced the plan that was with the Concom filing that showed the access over the other lot and around the wetlands. So I became aware of that in early January, I think. No, I'm sorry, in early March. I submitted a follow-up letter to you folks on March 13th saying, hey, basically what I just said, can you issue a corrective plan referencing, issue a corrective letter referencing the correct plan, meaning the January 18, 2019 plan, which is the plan you have in front of you. So I believe there was an attempt at doing this with a discussion at a prior meeting, and there were some questions about exactly what we were asking for. So that's what we're asking for. And quite frankly, I think what happened here is you guys, for a while now, have been doing things electronically. And when I submitted my request, I didn't have an electronic copy of this plan. So I submitted a writing, a letter, a physical letter with 24 by 36 copies of the plan. And because it wasn't uploaded through Permit-Eyes, it wasn't a permit application, it was just a finding request. So I think when Stephanie went to write the letter, she went to Permit-Eyes and pulled the Concom plan, not realizing that we hadn't uploaded the revised plan to Concom because we were waiting for the planning board finding letter first.
Yeah, that all makes sense. And at the last meeting, we just wanted to, we wanted to confirm that we did, in fact, instruct Stephanie to say that we supported it, but based on this plan, not on the other plan. So we wanted to make sure that,
Yeah, understandable. We all want to make it the right plan. Agreed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel the same way now that I did then, and
Yeah.
I think we should have email, or we can sign something that says we support this plan.
Yeah, with it. Isn't this the one, the fire department, we also talk about installing sprinklers because of the distance to the,
No.
no?
Yeah, actually, in fact, Greg, it is. He did ask
Oh, is it?
for, he did ask for sprinklers here as well. And we agreed to it. We said, fine, no problem.
Good memory there.
I don't know. I don't think you put it in your letter
No,
because
yeah.
you didn't view it as having necessarily any connection to what we were asking for you to do. But he did ask for it, and we did agree to it. And even though it's not in the finding, because that's not the purpose of the finding, we're going to do it anyway at the building inspector level.
Right. I actually, we had that's kind of become, they ask about that on every property now. I don't
Yes.
remember it being asked specifically on this, but that's not in our purview. And as has been practiced, we won't put it in the letter.
Yes,
Based
exactly.
on this
handled by
plan,
other people.
yeah, sorry.
But the client's going to do it, just so you know.
So Imai, are you comfortable with penning a letter to summarize everything that we need on it?
Yep, no problem. We confirmed the last time that the plans that Nick sent in, that Walter sent in, electronically match the ones that were given to Concom. That was the last thing to confirm, and they do indeed match.
Okay, so so you just need to write the letter. There's nothing else. We don't need to take a vote or anything. We're good.
I think so, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Walter,
I'm
you
comfortable
comfortable?
with that too. Just change the old letter to an updated version with the correct plan. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Mr. Marioni.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
Imai,
Chairman,
for your
and
efforts
the
on
rest
this.
of you. Always a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you soon.
It'd be nice to put this one to bed.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you, Walter.
Good evening.
So to
Good
speak.
evening. All right. Meeting minute. We'll do the meeting minutes last. So ZBA request for comments. There are 3 of them. One is for 50 Oliver Street Rear for outdoor dining,
Yep.
which I know is already open, I believe.
So yeah, it is open. They have opened their temporary dining under under one of the COVID allowances from the governor. It's in this area right here, and it is basically pretty similar to what you see there now is what they're proposing. Tables are 6 feet apart. They have these blocks out here. There's probably somebody out there enjoying a beer right now.
Well, it was on Facebook, so
It wasn't what, sorry?
there were pictures on Facebook of
Oh,
this.
yeah. So, of course, that's a temporary allowance that's only covered during COVID. So they did get that relief. But even before COVID happened, they had started talking to me about what do they need to do for an outdoor dining area. So this was in the works for a while, and now that they are reopening, they do want to also go for their permanent seating.
Okay, so then my question is, what is the total capacity of this outdoor dining? How does that compare to what they have existing? And how does that relate to parking?
So the total capacity of the outdoor, I don't know what they have existing. I did go back and look at the first decision for the brewery. It necessitated, I believe, 2 additional spaces, and they added 10. So they did have an excess of parking. And so when I looked at it here.
So you're counting all the parking behind the building there,
Yeah.
right? Well, is what they are asking a lot more than they already have from the point of view of occupancy? Because they are asking for 3, so for phases, phase 1, 2, and 3, 3 places.
I think those are alternates, actually.
Yeah, no, it says they were asking for this, and then if they have demand, they will have for the second and then the third.
It says alternate configuration.
Yeah, I thought it was alternate configuration.
See, that was my question, because there was a total of 70 seats with the 3, but so they're alternates. They're only going to pick 1. Because, I mean, adding 70 seats, I don't know if there's enough parking.
Yeah, adding 70 is a lot.
Except for how does that balance out against potential interior seating during this time period? Or how does whatever we vote on now?
This isn't just for, this is permanent. This isn't
Yeah,
just
this
for
is permanent. This is.
So you have to add inside and outside.
Mhm.
So are they able to use all 3 of these potential alternate areas during COVID?
The answer to that
No, they only have
is that
one.
they probably don't know, but if they are planning, they need to ask for the maximum. They can have a boom and the people will come and drink beer and eat there, or not. No one knows that. So they are asking for the maximum they can. So if they need it, they don't need to come again and ask for it.
I guess I mean, everyone's, I think, getting at the same thing, but it just depends on if we're talking about permanently adding seats to the existing capacity versus temporarily adding seats where there's seats inside not going to be used.
Oh. This is a request for permanent seating. They already have the temporary outdoor seating approved, where there is no indoor seating right now. They're approved for the temporary outdoor seating. What they're asking for right now is permanent. So if this would be in addition to what they have inside. Inside, they have 64 seats.
Okay, so how many more seats are we adding and how many more spaces are technically required?
Well, that has become a little confused because I read this as alternate configuration, that they weren't, that this was a possibility.
One or the other.
Yeah, one or the other. If they are indeed wanting to go and do this as,
I've read this, and my understanding is that they could end up using the 3 locations, but maybe I'm wrong. Or if it is not clear, you need to clarify that.
So let's do this, because this is just a request for comment. So this is our one bite at the apple. And I'm assuming we're looking at this as a restaurant, which the capacity for that is 1 parking space for every 4 seats. So I just heard inside the building is 64 seats, right? So there's
16 parking spaces is what they needed.
Right, okay, yeah, 16. So, and then, so if they're adding just, there's, as I read this, there's 2 scenarios of 24 seats, sorry, and one of 22. That's how I come up with 70. So if they're just picking one of those, then okay, so they need another 6 spaces. And there's 6 spaces, I'm sure, in that lot. You know, you can think about it. But if they're adding 70, then that's, you know, that's just, you know, a little, what, 8, maybe 18 spaces. And that parking lot's pretty full during the day, right? You know, I just have to, so you know, we could go back, we could tell ZBA, if you guys felt, okay, we're okay if they pick one of these scenarios, then we could say that. If they're gonna pick all 3, then, you know, maybe we have an issue with parking. We'd like to see a plan that shows how they're gonna handle the parking and what are the hours gonna be, because those are the issues, right? Because this parking lot's full during the day.
Did we at the inception of this project talk about that? I forget what the radii was for parking within a certain, you know, circumference of the restaurant. It would be, you know, valet parking or whatever. Is that something?
No, I don't recall ever having a discussion about valet parking on this. And I do remember we had some out back. There was always a kind of a mix of commercial vehicles that are parked there at night. And, you know, the thought was, okay, well, we'd like this to be successful. So, you know, and if it's successful, people won't mind walking, and that's fine. And I've been there at night, and yeah, I've had to park out front. But I guess my question, if the applicant was in front of us, I could say, I'm a little worried about this, just this ambiguity. Are we looking at 3 scenarios or 1? I wish we knew, but we don't. But if we're looking at all 3 combined, then, you know, what are the hours and you know, for another 20 parking spaces?
So they're going 3 to 9, Monday through Thursday, 12 to 9, Friday through Sunday.
So based on the information we have, the best we can do is recommend that the Board of Appeals, you know, look at the maximum parking demand, and if there's enough capacity for that maximum demand on the lot, or if they have alternate, you know, ideas.
Yeah. So also one thing, in talking with the owner, he relayed to me that in their past permitting of this, one thing that was considered was that their hours are primarily off of the normal business hours. And so, you know, they tend to get more of an influx after work is when people are going there. So that was, I guess, considered. That's what they relayed to me. Of course, I wasn't here for that. I do honestly see a certain logic to that of, you know, considering that, you know, you don't have to have all the parking for all the businesses all the time, especially when there's different peaks.
Yeah, so that's why, you know, the best we can do is, you know, just kind of voice our concerns about the parking, but let the Board of Appeals talk to the applicant and request the required information to make a decision.
Is parking the only issue there with 70 places around that building? Outside?
Parking the only issue with this use?
Yeah.
Um,
Can you think about any other problems about having
It could be lighting.
three
Lighting could be an
simultaneous
issue.
locations with people?
lighting,
outside?
outdoor noise, I mean, it still abuts some residences.
Yeah,
You know, granted, they're only going till 9.
I mean, have the fire department make sure they have enough access between those parking spots and the second blue, you know, the one way in the back. Says 19.7 feet to the corner of the blue seating area. So, I mean, I think that should be enough. Probably, you know, that's enough space. So 8, yeah. So that's 11 feet for a fire truck to get through. If a car parks, you know, on the edge of the 8-foot parking, parallel parking. You see what I mean?
Right, and they want a minimum of 12.
Yeah, so that's 19.7. You take 8, and you know someone parks right on the edge there. So that would be so that, you know, they should, Board of Appeals should talk to the, you know, or they should have to get the fire department's input, I suppose.
yeah, it's very narrow there. There are people sitting on the very corner there.
So,
Yeah, yeah, and the lighting, you know, yeah, we want to be accommodative, but there is some, yeah, just important things to not to overlook.
so I just want to circle. So Imai, just so I'm clear, you're not sure if they're looking for all 3 areas or just one of the 3?
You know, now that I read more closely their narrative, no, they're looking for the ability to use
The
all
3
of
of
them.
them. That was my understanding of you.
Yeah.
I read this
The first one
twice.
said alternate, and so I mistakenly read that as they were proposing 3 alternates.
All right. Yeah, so it's not like option A and option B and C. It's just, it's like this is one option with different, you know, different
Yeah.
seating areas.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't understand. I know they show,
So yeah, 74 seats.
yeah, and they show outdoor portable toilets. Is that
Yeah,
really the way we want to go with this?
so I think there is more to this issue than just parking.
Yeah, I mean, even in that back corner, there's a loading dock there where they're showing parking spots. So I don't know if that's they're, you know, revising the site, they're gonna get, you know, move that garage door, or if that's just, you know, they expect not to use it at night at all.
Yeah, good question.
So what do you guys want to do?
So it's all the 74. We need to kill the ambiguity here.
Yeah, I'd recommend the concept of outdoor dining, but mention that we have concerns with, you know, parking, you know, sufficient parking, lighting, and safety circulation, including the fire department.
We mentioned noise, and I think not our department, but I do think it's a valid point that if this was all approved permanent seating, it contributes to the occupant load. And so, yes, from a building plumbing inspector point of view, the restrooms may not be adequate. And so I think Greg's comment about do we want to supplement with outdoor restrooms is another thing to consider. I would generally be supportive of trying to work with them in a more flexible arrangement if possible, just because I do think we're all trying to see our local businesses be successful. But I mean, obviously those are some, I think probably the fire department and probably restroom capacity stand out in my mind, because I think that I think they're all valid points to consider, but I'm just saying, I think I think if they can come up with a plan or at least address the topics we've talked about, that I would still try to look favorably on something like this. If they can address.
As would
the
I, but I
comments.
am concerned with parking that, you know, the hours do overlap, 3 PM and 12 PM. So what if, you know, a group decides to have a company outing here or something, you know? That parking lot is always jammed during the day. And there's really not the ability for on-street parking. So that, you know, that concerns me, plus the points have already been raised. So
I agree, although I do think like the town, like our town, I mean, we've talked about this for years, like our whole parking downtown issue and what are our options, and, you know, clearly there's no conventional easy solution. So I don't think it means they can't address it or we can just ignore that there might not be adequate parking, but I think maybe, yeah, like having a discussion about what, you know, maybe they have to modify the hours, or maybe there has to be a less conventional plan for parking when there is like something that you mentioned, or maybe it has to be up for review after a certain time period. I don't know. I'm just saying, I'd like to see them be able to do it, yet I do think there are some definite issues that should be looked at. So I agree, Greg.
Hey, Greg, if the YMCA doesn't open, you have enough parking there too. Next door.
That's not public, that's private property.
Yeah, well, you can push them to make an agreement.
That's not our job. Okay, so do you have enough, like board, do you guys, you want to just leave, are you comfortable with my writing something, or how do you want to handle this?
Yeah, so can we recommend the outdoor dining concept, but just then bullet point our concerns?
You recommend outdoor dining and what?
Oh, sorry. Oh, so we can recommend the outdoor dining, but you know, have some concerns with the site plan, including the.
Sure. So while in favor of outdoor dining and expansion of economic development for this property, we are concerned with the overlap of business hours and addition, you know, substantial additional parking, you know, the portable, the temporary restrooms, and
Safety, yeah.
Fire
Noise and sound.
and exterior lighting, because there's no plan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exterior.
lighting and sound.
And sound, yeah. So, Imai, do you think you can put that together in something?
Yep, can do.
All right. 491 Foundry Street. That is the, used to be the mobile station. It's called the,
It's All Town now.
oh yeah, it's All Town now. They want to do outdoor dining. Has this been allowed already too, on a COVID standpoint? I'm not sure.
No.
Okay. So my concern with this one is that all they're proposing, you know, if you remember recently, I wasn't able to attend meetings, but I was asked for input for outdoor dining. And I said, one of the things planning board's always looked at is, you know, when dining is in a parking lot or abuts a parking lot, we like to have, you know, something sort of permanent that can block, you know, think of, you know, a lot like what we did Corfinio, or, you know, Dunkin' Donuts up on 5 Corners. We like to have something that can stop cars. So as I read this plan, where they're looking to have outdoor dining on the eastern side of the building, towards sort of the 5 towards
The 5
CVS.
corners.
It's just a 6-inch concrete curb. I'd rather see something, you know, concrete, you know, Jersey barriers or planters that are made for Jersey barriers. So what we're seeing going up all around town, where everybody's opening up outdoor dining, I don't think a 6-inch concrete curb is enough to stop a car. And people say, well, that's what you have on a sidewalk. But, you know, the sidewalk, at least you're a moving target. Here, you're a sitting target. And there's 2 major entrances to the site, as you can see from the road right there, especially, you know, the main. And if someone lost control, or, you know, I'd be more comfortable if there was something there to stop them besides concrete.
Can you point to where the east side that you're talking about?
It's where the propane tanks are.
Do you see it's like a, do you see this, can you see the screen now? Deb?
Yeah, okay.
So it's a little
so-
black, it's sort of that black rectangle in the middle. That's the seating.
Oh, okay, all right.
And then that, what
So-
looks like a backwards 7, if you will. That is the, that's curbing. There's a note there that says proposed concrete curbing. And if you look at the details, it's just a 6-inch curb. And then look at that entrance right there. You know, he pointed
Yeah.
right at it. So I would just, I would just prefer to see a, 24-inch high barrier there that will stop a car. Car can hop right over a curb, no problem.
Greg, theoretically, they could close that piece of the road because they can go around it. The people can go around the building. And
No, we don't, yeah, but no, we don't want to close that. That's too, that ties into the whole street. No, we don't want to change that. We don't want to close that.
Yeah, no, they should be able to fit a better barrier than a curb there.
Yeah.
There was another parking spot. I think there'll be enough. The 20, where they have, that road should be wide enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
guys okay with something like bollards every 4 feet?
Yeah, could be something at a minimum bollard, sure. Yeah, something that's going to stop a car is what I want.
A Jersey barrier.
I mean,
But bollards, not when I say a bollard, if it's a bollard, I want it installed in the ground, not just sitting on the surface.
Yeah, the big
Concrete fill.
concrete bollard, the concrete.
Right, but
filled ones, yeah.
recently I saw in another property in town, they proposed some precast bollards, which basically just sit right on the surface, and they're not gonna. That's just a heavy construction cone, if you ask me. So, but yeah, bollard, concrete, whatever, just something that will stop a car.
Okay.
They can specify it. Anybody have any other thoughts on that one?
Is this to compete with the Cumberland Farms outdoor dining? Because apparently this is a thing now.
Yeah, I guess.
As I say, they have propane tanks there now, so they need to move that away too.
Right.
Who wants to meet out there tomorrow? We could have a hot dog.
You can tell me all about it, Deb. I'm gonna stay on lockdown when it comes to hot dogs.
To gas station hot dogs on the side of the highway?
I'm gonna be careful. I'm trying to support our economy.
Okay.
I'm also trying to support my gastrointestinal though.
the pizza at Cumberland Farms is actually pretty good. I tried it once and I was really amazed that it was pretty good.
I fired up the Big Green Egg this weekend, and I have 42 pounds of pulled pork and ribs. I'm slowly getting through. So. All right, 38 Center Street. So this one's this is a strange one. This is the old Copeland Funeral Home, which has 2 existing apartments in it and has a funeral home on the ground floor. And the proposal is for to add 2 more units to make it a 4-family. But then they're calling it mixed use because they're gonna keep an office, a real estate management office in here. And I noticed in there, so this is before the ZBA for variance to allow the apartments under multifamily. And in their brief, I see that the client or the applicant indicates that they feel it's a special permit by planning board, but at the direction of the planner. So how do we, so I'm not sure how we deal with this one. Imai, I'm sure you have thoughts.
So basically, yeah, they don't have the density for the number of apartments they're proposing. It's not even a 60,000 square foot lot. So the direction we're given from them, that we gave to them, is either you need a variance from that dimensional requirement, or you need a special permit to continue that the ZBA find that what they're doing is a continuance of the previously grandfathered use of a commercial use and residential on the same property. So they have to apply for either one. So they took the special permit route, that they're going to try for a special permit, asking the ZBA to find this, that they could grant a special permit to kind of reinstate the grandfathering. And you can see in their writing, they have kind of hedged their bets to say that, well, if we need a variance, they did say if this is more detrimental to the neighborhood, that then the applicant requests a variance.
I mean, you know, given that we haven't changed the bylaw yet, I mean, this isn't what people voted to have zoned in that area until they do vote for it. Does that make sense? I mean,
Well, we haven't even proposed it in this area.
right, yeah, that's what I mean. So I mean, it sounds like you think, oh, it's close to downtown, you know, I mean, maybe they got a variance up the road to do an apartment or something like that. So it's close to downtown and, you know, there's small lots, but it's just not allowed in the bylaw. I mean, obviously, which is why they need a special permit or a variance, but I mean, I'd be more against the variance, really. And I don't want to be against this, but it's just not what a majority of, you know, 2/3 of the voters at town hall have voted for yet.
But mixed use is allowed in a business zone. This is zone business. Again, it's a special permit. It's allowed, let me strike that. It's allowed via special permit from our board. So are you saying if they had taken that approach, you'd be for or you'd be against?
Yeah, to use the existing.
And Imai, is there anything, I didn't see, and you know, they talk about being mixed use. Where's the breakdown? Does it show where the commercial, like I didn't see any architectural plans, where this office is, how large is it, what percentage of the building is it?
I searched those plans for the office and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, neither could I.
Yeah, and I searched, where is the office? There is one of the apartment has an office inside, but it says
It is on it's here on their lower level. So this is so what they're proposing is a property management. It's a property management business they have here. So they have one office here, I guess a garage for their fleet and a workshop here. That's what they're proposing as the commercial part of it.
Because, you know, that brings up a whole bunch of, I mean, that, looking quickly, I've been in this building once, trying to remember, and looking at this plan, you know, I would hope, you know, I'm just wondering, are they just saying it's a mixed use, oh, we'll do a business down there, but are they through building code, are they gonna be able to have a business down there? It looks like there's, you know, what's the egress? There's not enough detail in these plans.
Yeah, that's not really what we're.
And I know that's not quite in our purview, but at the same time, and when considering a special permit, and I know this isn't a special permit, but you know, so where I kind of feel is, yeah, I'd rather not see this not be a variance, right? I'd rather they go through a special permit, but I don't think there's sufficient information here on their plans for the workspace and, you know, the calculations of it. And is it really the mixed use that we've been looking for when, oh, it's in a basement? You know, didn't we look at mixed use to sort of be, you know, a lot of times we looked at it as on the first floor and economic development, etc. You know, whereas
Picture like the front, yeah, well, yeah.
this is like a finished basement that you put a workshop in. Is that really mixed use? Is that the mixed use we've envisioned, right?
Right, or is it just an apartment building with like almost an accessory type? You know,
Right. That's yeah, exactly.
Well, how big is their office area on that plan?
And then the site plan, you know, I was looking at the site plan and there's this like really odd, there's this stockade fence, which I don't even know what it's for. It's kind of, did you see that stockade fence area? I'm like, well, what is that? I don't really. So there's really questions that would come up during the special permit process that we could ask and make part of the site plan. And so so I'm kind of reticent on this one because I'm not, you know, I don't like doing site plan review through a request for comment through ZBA, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But that's just my thoughts. I'm not sure. Yeah, you might. Let's go to the next page. I'll show you. We can zoom. I'll show. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, architecturals?
No, site plan. But there was it showed this really weird, the stockade fence area. Is that it? Yeah. Okay.
This one.
Just zoom in on just on the site portion if we can. But so see, I'm talking about this area where there's, you know, between the parking lot and the building, it's a 6-foot stockade fence. And like what, you know, it's kind of strange.
I think they're gonna have like a patio there or something. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't call it out, and it's a, you know,
Yeah.
narrow area. I just, you know.
Back with the plows, yeah.
But again, these are questions that are normally handled during site plan review, right? So.
So currently, they're just using it as a funeral home.
Well, that
Abandoned
used
right
to
now.
have been abandoned, right? In fact, so is this not even grandfathered anymore, right, Imai? It's been more than 2 years.
No, it's not grandfathered, so that's why they have to go for the special permit before the ZBA. Is the ZBA can restore the grandfathering.
But they just
Is that
tried
what they're trying to
the
do?
grandfathering that they had, basically, right?
But the grandfathering is what, the funeral home?
Well, the ZBA, that's what I would imagine would be in their purview as to say how loosely they want to interpret the grandfathering. You know, if it's just, hey, funeral home and 2 apartments is it's what we would restore as a grandfathered use, then
Right.
then yeah, they can interpret it that tightly. If not, if they want to interpret broadly as, you know, some kind of business use and then also some kind of residential use above and beyond that, then, you know, that I think is up to them, as they would have to kind of come up with the more detrimental to the neighborhood question.
Because, you know, it's interesting too, you know, when you think of the original use, the funeral home, that was the majority of the first floor was the receiving areas and their viewing areas. The basement was part of the business, the less glamorous part. In this, you know, the entire first floor is now taken up by a different use.
Mhm.
So it's not really, you know, I mean, I guess I know that's really more for the ZBA, but now it's changing. I'm just like, mixed use, all of a sudden it's all just going in the basement. And that's a slippery slope for me.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's
What's the,
it's not really a
potential-
retail oriented.
Right.
So what's the potential procedure we can recommend or we cannot because they're already going to the ZBA?
Well, we can either recommend or not recommend for it the way it is, or we can take no action. We don't have to, you know, but seeing that this, you know, if you go back to that line that they have, they seem to differ a little bit, you know, like that they seem to be saying that they were told to go this way, but they don't think they have to. They should be able to go for a special permit through our board. You know, so if you know, you know, so we, so first we could say, you know, are we in favor of this as a variance for 4 apartments? We're fine with it, then okay, then we're fine with it. Or, but it sounds like Peter's not, and I'm not. Yeah, I don't know where I'm at with it, frankly. And if it's going to be mixed use, okay, but I'm not really sold that all the entire business being in the basement is mixed use, because on the site, where's the entrance for this business? Where's the, you know, mixed use? There's a differentiation between you know, the residential portion and the business portion, and I don't really, and by that differentiation on site and then the entrances to the building and how it all works, I don't see that here. There's we don't really have quite enough information. But again, we're not looking at it for a mixed use. We're looking at it for a variance. So that's why
On the
this is.
variance, I mean, on the variance, are others, like wary or reluctant, of a variance for, for apartment, for basically an apartment building, it's not meeting the bylaw? Is that concern others, or is that something that you think should just be taken on a case by case?
That's a good point, Peter, because you think about it, if you combine what we've both been saying, where I understand we're going to come, and I'm going, I just don't know if this is really mixed use. I'm not saying I'm against this being mixed use, but just sticking this on the basement, right? And I don't see any changes in this plan. So,
I agree.
So really what we're looking, so now I get your 2/3 point that, okay, so if we're looking at this as just multifamily, and the requirements of multifamily, are still right, 3 bedrooms for 60,000 square feet, which just isn't even close. So I guess, right, so that, so yeah, so just doing this as multifamily, I am opposed to. I'm not saying I'm opposed to the 4 units, but I need to see more, I need to see a better, what's the word I want? I need to see this be a true mixed use. How's that? I don't think this is really a true mixed use.
I would agree.
I'm concerned that the supposed, the commercial portion of this just being in a basement doesn't seem to be in the spirit of mixed use that we've been promoting in the town of Easton.
Yeah, and I mean, I think if you want to take it a step further, that there's still questions. There's a fence. There's, a business to the rear. It's the corner of a fairly, well-populated street. What are we talking about in terms of, connection and all of the other items that we've tried to consider when advocating for a mixed-use project? I think putting up a fence and having an office in the basement with, no other clear gestures towards creating connections or integrating neighborhoods seem like valid concerns. So. Should we vote to not recommend, or what do we say? What do we?
Sounds more like you guys are getting towards recommend denial.
Yeah.
Both
recommend to not endorse.
Yeah.
Yeah, of the variance. So because that's really the question before us, right?
Well, the question before you right now is for a special permit. That's what they applied for. They applied for the special permit on the grounds that they could.
Special permit for multifamily, right?
No, a special permit to reinstate the grandfathered use. That's what they went for.
Oh.
So the grandfather use was mixed use, and they're kind of changing the business apartment ratio, kind of flip-flopping that basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right. So to me, it's really not grandfathered because they've removed all first floor commercial. There was, originally there was a, first floor commercial. Now there isn't any. So yeah, so I would be against the grandfathering because I think they've changed it. If they're going back to the original, it wouldn't have to be a funeral home. But if the first floor was majority commercial space, fine. But it's not. So to me, it's not valid for what they're asking for.
Yeah, so we could not recommend because it's a major change to the commercial or residential ratio, something like that.
I think we might need to stick to the fact that this is not grandfathering because it's not the same as it was.
Yeah, I think we're all saying the same thing.
I think that's the point.
Yep. So we're all kind of saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Do you want to, when you draft up something, you want to just send it to me so I can take a peek?
Yes, I do.
If you don't mind, and then, we'll see.
We're in agreement, basically. I'm in agreement.
Yeah, we're all saying the same thing.
Okay, yeah, all right. In case
All
anyone
right,
has
so,
the other way.
so, all right, so we're all set with this one, right? You good, Iman?
Yep, I'm good.
All right, meeting minutes. Anybody look at them? Did we get them?
I think so. I thought I saw them sent out with what Suzanne sent.
Yeah, you know, Suzanne sent them and I looked
Oh,
at them.
you're right. Yeah, last week.
I did not look at them. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was not in the meeting, so.
Just look at them quickly. I think we
If you'd
put it
like
off
to.
last time. The reason I say that is because I think last time we did the same thing.
Yeah, I think so.
So maybe we should just look at them, grab your phone.
Motion to approve, but I can't make a motion, I'm the chair.
Can
So
we
you say you wanna
flash
hold
them?
off?
Motion
put
to
them up
look
on
them
the
through.
Yeah.
I have them right here. They should be pretty short. Let me just read them fast. Sorry.
Are we gonna put them up on the screen or should I hold them up?
I'm gonna put them up right now.
Okay.
You should just do whatever Peter says.
Sorry, I don't mean to be bossy. Maybe just look at the, on page 2, Greg, maybe just look at what you said about the fire department requesting sprinklers. Make sure that's what you said. 250 feet. I wasn't sure if that's.
Where?
Are you looking at the 11th?
Oh, is that what I'm looking at? No, I'm on the wrong one. Oh, okay.
Well, they're both up right now, but
Oh, okay, we're on the other set. Sorry about that.
yeah, but I had put up 526.
Okay. Yeah, I was just on my.
But no, I mean, we should look at those too.
I just grabbed the first
I
one.
mean, I guess my only comment on page 2 would be where it says she likes the placement of the duplex on the site. I think what I said was, given the fact that there would be an elevation change, I thought the placement on the site was appropriate. So I don't know if we can just slightly modify that.
Okay.
Did you get that, Suzanne?
Just say can you just repeat that?
Yeah, not that I liked the placement on the duplex on the site, but that given the elevation change, I thought the placement was appropriate.
Okay. That sounds right. Change that. Yes.
Peter, what date was the 250 you were talking about? Was that on the 11th? I can't find it.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that was the 26th. That's okay. Never mind. There we go. All right. I'm doing this with my phone. So little
Oh.
screen.
Is that it, or is there another, okay. Is there one more page?
Yeah, there's more. Let me know when you want to go further on it.
I mean, I'm good with you advancing it if everyone else is.
Yeah, I'm fine. I already read it on my phone. So.
Yeah, I'm fine with what I said. I mean, it is what it is, so. Who wants to make a motion?
Which one are we doing a motion on?
The 11th, right?
No, the 26th.
Oh,
To approve the minutes on May 26th.
let's do them both. Let's be crazy. Did someone make a motion?
Yes, I made a motion to approve May 26th minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second it and also just comment as amended.
Okay.
Right. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Gregory Strange, aye.
Al Sarek, aye.
Kevin Mark,
Peter, you vote?
Oh, I did, yeah.
Okay.
Aye.
I didn't see your lips move. Sorry, my audio is terrible tonight. I don't know why. All right, so that was, how about the 11th? Anybody want to make a motion? Or are we looking at those?
I looked at it.
I'm fine with what I had on page 2. I'll let it stay.
Oh, okay, as long as it's close. So, motion to approve the minutes from May 11th.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, Strange, aye.
Saying aye.
Kevin Mark,
Al Sarek, aye.
All right. Chairs approved. About the only thing I have to report, I don't know. I don't think we had we had a meeting. We had a few meetings regarding Sawmill, and we had representatives of the Selectman's office, we had town administrator. Obviously, we had Imai, myself, Andrea Langhauser, Rory, conservation, and the applicant's team, and I brought up concerns, how things had really started to change since they had left here, left this board, and how much of it was developed during a collaborative process with all facets of the town. So, and it was a good meeting. I think productive. I hope. And originally, they were Rick's team. In fact, I didn't learn until tonight that they weren't ready with the filing for the Concom. So I guess 2 meetings out, and maybe at our second. I think at a second July meeting, I'll have them come in anyways, regardless of where they're at with Concom, because I want them to circle back with our team here, so you guys can see everything. But we've been trying to get over some of the differences and get back on track. So I think it's going in a positive direction. And that's about that. Imai, did you have anything you wanted to say tonight?
About Sawmill or anything else?
Just anything on your mind?
Yeah. Okay, so
I'm done. I'm done with everything I need to say tonight. So
yeah, no, I've already let Greg know this, but I am sorry to tell you guys that I have decided to go back to my previous job in Weston. Reason being is it's strictly financial. I took a pay cut to come here, but I was supposed to step up at the end of the fiscal year. But now that there are wage freezes, that's not going to happen. So I would be, taking my pay cut for at least another year. And talking this over with my family, the things we would have to sacrifice would be too much to make it happen. So unfortunately, I have to go back to Weston to and I don't mean that, you know, if they ever listen to this meeting, I don't mean that pejoratively to them, you know, I mean that, you know, I really had wanted to, you know, make a move here and, you know, start working on some new projects and some, you know, new challenges, but unfortunately I won't be able to do that. So that's, yeah, that's what's on my mind.
So, yeah, because tonight, this will be your last meeting with us, I think, right?
This will be my last meeting. Yeah, I've slated my last day for the 26th.
So, I'll talk to you privately, but we certainly, we've enjoyed our time with you, and we're sorry it has to end so soon.
I am too. Thank you. I am.
Makes sense. So we wish you the best. And hope that works
Thank
out.
you. Thank you very much.
You'll go down as hopefully the only planning director that we actually never had an in-person meeting with.
I know, right?
I was just gonna say, I don't think I've actually ever met you in person.
No,
How do we know you're not a
in
hologram?
person. on like, you know, my 4th day here, and then after the first week, everything shut down. So yeah, it's an odd tenure. I mean, you know, what can I say? We're living in interesting times, as the Chinese curse says, right?
Yeah, I mean, imagine people now, they're actually taking jobs where they probably have never even gone into an office.
Sorry, what was that, Peter?
I mean, now, these days, people are probably taking virtual jobs, and they've never even gone to physically meet anyone in the.
Right.
I can
That's
imagine.
happened on my wife's team. My wife's hired a few folks who have never met in person.
Yeah.
Well, Imai, we wish you and your family the best, and
Thank you all. Thank you. I'm sorry it was so short. I really am.
And well, life is life. We all must do what we must.
And we have the
And
bylaw. You have the bylaw pretty organized for us too. That was it was in need.
So yeah, at least I got something done while I was here. You know, it wasn't just.
that's right.
It wasn't just.
You did more than I consulted.
Around, I'll go now.
I don't even know how you made that, that legible.
That reminds me. Yeah, make sure you leave me a copy of that, will you?
I will.
So, all right. Well, that's everything for tonight. So, Imai, I'll talk to you this week, obviously, anyways.
Yeah.
But,
We'll circle back.
board member Deb. Hey, Deb, I really appreciate you helping out on this one tonight. And
You're welcome.
Good luck with your studies.
I'm hoping I'll hear. I'm hoping I'll hear from NCARB if they're promising now to give people more than a day notice of cancellation. So hopefully,
yeah, that would be.
Hopefully you won't be hearing from me, which means my test is on until afterwards. But good luck, Imai. And so will Andrea be taking over again temporarily, or do we?
Andrew will be taking the director position, but we're going to meet internally on how to handle staffing the board, because Keith, our planning and conservation clerk, is also leaving, and that's part of, you know, some things that went on with rearranging personnel to cut budget, and so, you know, she'll have her hands full already with bringing on a new person. So it's going to be a challenge.
I've spoken with Connor a
Okay.
couple times, and there's a plan of action being worked on, and I may have something to report back in the coming days. But so when we do, so it's trying to figure it all out, but it's actively being worked on. And I do want to give a shout out. One of the reasons we're short tonight is that Chris Anderson and his wife Marissa on Friday or Saturday welcomed their daughter, their first child, Haley, into the world.
First child.
We want to congratulate them. They came home yesterday, and it's odd having a neighbor who you can't go see the child because you have to socially distance. But, adorable little girl, and we'll leave all we'll let Chris tell all the stories when he comes back. So I won't spoil it.
Congratulations, Chris.
Give him a shout out. Wanted to give him a shout out.
Congratulations.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And Imai, I'll talk to you this week. And Deb, go hit those books.
Motion to adjourn.
Way to go. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, great. Thank you, ECAT. Thank you, Easton.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Good
you,
night.
everybody.
Thank you, Suzanne.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Imai. Good night, guys.
Good night.